Hi, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. You know me, my name is Peg. Um, so it's been over a week since my last video, and I apologize for the lapse. I had hoped to have, pre-recorded a couple videos for you guys for last week because I was at a work retreat all week, away from home. But last weekend was crazy, and I just could not fit it in. I know you understand, but I'm sorry to leave you hanging. Um, so this video, I wanted to show you some new history that has arrived here at the History Shelf over the last few weeks. And I thought I would save them for a New History on the Horizon episode. But since a few of these are just finished copies of things you've seen before that I've already shown on the New History on the Horizon episodes, this one is going to be just showing you relatively new releases. Some of them are already out. A couple are not, but I am commissioned to review them. So a couple of these could technically fit into a New History on the Horizon episode, but I'm just going to throw them in here. And then we will. I've got a big stack that just arrived that are downstairs in the parlor that would basically fill up a New History on the Horizon episode by itself. So anyway, thanks for listening. Let's hop right in. I feel like I need to make a chatty video with you guys to give you some housekeeping items and issues of what I'm planning on, what I'm looking at doing soon, and what you can expect. But we'll look at that for later. Okay, so the first book I picked up from Oxford University Press is a historian that I have not read before, so I'm really, really intrigued. And I want to read his two books before this one. I think he was kind of writing, covering major aspects of World War II. But this is Jonathan Dimbleby, and this is Endgame 1944, How Stalin Won the War, by obviously Jonathan Dimbleby. But look at that nice cover. Let's see. Is that the no. What is that picture of? I know it's that major statue or the major gate. Is that the Brandenburg Gate? I don't know. Anyway, let me tell you what this one's about. It's a big chunkster, as you can see. This is a relatively new release. This came out, well, it just came out this year. So I was able to get this. In his new book, Jonathan Dimbleby, the author of celebrated works on the Battle of the Atlantic in Operation Barbarossa, I really want to get his Operation Barbarossa book, offers a portrait of the final year of World War II. He begins by focusing on how and when it began, with Operation Bagration in June 1944, when more than 2 million Red Army soldiers began an assault on the German forces occupying Soviet territory along a 1,200-mile front, started a push toward Berlin. As Dimbleby argues, though, in that same month, the Allies gained a foothold on the beaches of Normandy and started their own push. It was the Eastern Front that ultimately sealed Hitler's fate. Bagration destroyed 3/4 of Army Group Center's divisions, the core of the Wehrmacht's forces in the East. The German line was shattered. Combining compelling narrative with detailed analysis, Endgame 1944 illuminates the momentous year in its entirety, covering not just its military but political and diplomatic elements as well. Drawing on previously untranslated German, Russian, and Polish sources, Dimbleby shows... Ooh, there's a typo in the dust jacket. I could help you with that, Oxford. It says Dimbleby shows see how... Let's see, there's an extra word that does not need to be there. Take out C. Dimbleby shows how sophisticated new forms of deception and ruthlessly effective partisan warfare altered the Soviets' fortunes. The Red Army's triumphs effectively gave Stalin a basis on which to occupy Eastern Europe, enabling him to dictate the terms of the post-war settlement and laying the foundations for the Cold War. Accessible, evocative, and scrupulously researched, Endgame 1944, published, I did not know this, I guess I could have counted, published on the 80th anniversary of Bagration, named for the Georgian prince and Russian general during the Napoleonic Wars, shows how that operation set in motion the demise of Nazi Germany within the year and illuminates its enduring legacies. So this is going to be perfect because I am, yes, I can't wait to dig into this one because I just started reading the sequel to a major historical fiction novel that I reviewed for Book Trip last year. The first book in the series is going to be a trilogy, and I just love that some authors out there still have, and I'm not talking about fantasy because people are writing fantasy trilogies, quartets, and everything else. I'm talking about historical fiction trilogies and like big sagas. And Helena Schrader is writing a really brilliant series. It's just brilliant. I'm really enjoying the books. Anyway, so I finished Cold Peace last year, and now Cold War came out, and her book is about the post-war settlement in Berlin and how, and it's about the Berlin airlift and how the Soviets kind of just basically decided to shut out the Western Allies and shut everything down. And so, half the city was just shut down. People couldn't get out. I mean, so this is kind of just fits in really well with how Stalin kind of, just took over that area and then kind of set it up in places where he was ready to kind of pounce once the Allies. I mean, I know it's mostly about 1944, but as it says here, he's going to be covering how, the terms he dictated for the post-war settlement and laying the foundations for the Cold War. So that it just ties in with this historical fiction novel that I'm reading right now. So fantastic. Great new book from Oxford University Press and Jonathan Dimbleby. I'm trying to get a copy of his Operation Barbarossa for a price I can afford. I'm looking at like a used new copy for about $20. But thank you for the folks at Oxford University Press for sending me this one because I do want to. I've never read Dimbleby, and I want to check him out. So very excited for that. Oh, this book I glocked onto this one because of another book. No, podcaster. Brendan at History Nerds United, right? Yes, History Nerds United. And I love that title. He has. I'm going to link his information below. You really need to check him out and check him out on social media. He's always interviewing writers, historians, and he's always got to jump on books that. You know what? We have this really great symbiotic relationship, Brendan and I, because I'll find out books from his social media feed and listen to his interviews with the authors, and then that turns me on to books I haven't heard of. And apparently I have a few things that I've done and put out there that he hadn't heard of, and he went out and picked up the books. And this is one of the books that he did with the author. He did an interview, and I really want to read it, so I picked up The Infernal Machine, A True Story of Dynamite, Terror, and the Rise of the Modern Detective by Stephen Johnson. So he interviewed him on a show, and again, I'll link Brendan's information below. But follow him on social media and check out his interviews. They're fantastic. Okay, so Stephen Johnson's engrossing account of the epic struggle between the anarchist movement and the emerging surveillance state stretches around the world between two centuries. From Alfred Nobel. No, okay. You know what? Let me just take a pause here, guys. Part of my work retreat involved a lot of socialization, and I mean talking from morning to night. And I'm an extroverted introvert person, so I can be extroverted, but my true nature is introvert. I think that makes sense, right? I'm a book reader. I like to just kind of go away into my room and read and but yeah, I was on for a whole week, and it was exhausting. And when I got home to Martine, I was just like, I just don't want to talk anymore. So, God love her. She understands. But I'm getting back into the groove. Today's Saturday, so, I'm feeling rested again, but I am still not speaking as well as I normally do. even then, when I'm normal, I still stumble. Okay, so let's get into this. From Alfred Nobel's invention of dynamite and the assassination of Tsar Alexander II to New York City in the shadow of World War I. Okay, so this begins in like April 1914. The NYPD is still largely the corrupt, low-tech organization of the Tammany Hall era. To the extent the police are stopping crime as opposed to committing it, their role has been almost entirely defined by physical force. The brawn of the cop on the beat, keeping criminals at bay with nightsticks and fists. The solving of crimes is largely outside their purview. The new commissioner, Arthur Woods, is determined to change that, but he cannot anticipate the maelstrom of violence that will soon test his science-based approach to policing. Within weeks of his tenure, New York City is engulfed in the most concentrated terrorism campaign in the nation's history. A 5-year period of relentless bombings, many of them perpetrated by the anarchist movement, led by legendary radicals Alexander Berkman and Emma Goldman. Coming to Woods' aid are Inspector Joseph Farrote, a science-first detective who works closely with him in reforming the police force, and Amedeo Polignani, the young Italian undercover detective who infiltrates the notorious Bresci Circle. Ooh, this sounds good. Johnson reveals a mostly forgotten period of political conviction, scientific discovery, assassination plots, bombings, undercover operations, and innovative sleuthing. The Infernal Machine is the complex prehistory of our current moment when decentralized anarchist networks have once again taken to the streets to protest law enforcement abuses. Right-wing militia groups have attacked government buildings, and surveillance is almost ubiquitous. Indeed, this is a timely book. So when I listened to the interview on Brendan's channel, his podcast, History Nerds United, or Unite. Sorry, Brendan. I'll get it right. I know it's History Nerds. The Infernal Machine by Stephen Johnson. This is put up by Crown Books, so thanks to the folks at Crown for this review copy. I'm very excited to tap into that. Now, I had meant to show you this book back in June, you guys, and I know it's now August 3rd. But this is a book from Diversion Books, and it came out around the time of in June for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And as you know, I had my whole kind of some, extra programming for D-Day, read along. Still reading Stephen Ambrose's book. I'm going to try to finish that in the next 10 days. Wish me luck on that one. I've just, between me traveling and going to work retreats, and then Bill, I know Bill was out, he was doing things, but he's way ahead of me. This man, even though he's like winging around the country, that's Bill Rutenberg, I should say. God, he's ahead of me. And Brian M.R. is finished. I think yeah. Anyway, I got to catch up. So this book came out around June, and I wanted to include this for my D-Day roundup, but better late than never. We've got Churchill's D-Day, the British Bulldog's fateful hours during the Normandy invasion. It's written by General Sir Richard Dannett, former chief of the British Army, and Alan Packwood, director of the Churchill Archive Center. Again, this was put out by Diversion Books, but that was another aspect of D-Day that I hadn't seen before. So when I saw this book, I was like, I'd like to take a look at this because, this does kind of, it falls into, all the research I've been doing lately on D-Day. So let's take a look here. On June 6, 1944, the landings from the greatest armada of ships ever assembled began at 0630 hours. Overnight, paratroopers from the British 6th Airborne Division had secured the eastern flank of the landing zone, with the U.S. 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions securing the western flank to fend off German counterattacks. Operation Overlord had begun. In Churchill's D-Day, Richard Dannett, former leader of the British Army, and Alan Packwood, one of the world's foremost Churchill experts, capture the British Bulldog's emotional turmoil and epic decision-making before, during, and after the world-defining action of D-Day. Culled from the Churchill papers at the Churchill Archive Center, this book features historical documents, photographs, letters, and more for a documentary experience of D-Day leadership, strategy, and humanity. As the people of Great Britain awake to the news of the landings on the radios, the burden of making a formal statement to the House of Commons falls on the shoulders of their Prime Minister. While Churchill is aware of the huge responsibility he bears for British soldiers and French civilians, knowing political opponents will question his leadership, no one else is fully aware of the conversations, thoughts, and deliberations leading up to the decisions he's made and will continue to make on this day. Everything hangs in the balance. Churchill's D-Day is history come alive. The invasion of Normandy as the British Bulldog experienced it himself. So, fabulous. This is going to be a wonderful addition to my D-Day collection, and hopefully will maybe give me some new insights or some fun facts that I never knew before. Obviously, the books I've been reading about D-Day, I'm not really following what Churchill's doing, because at that point the planning's over. It's just action time. It's execute the plan. So I'm really excited for Churchill's D-Day, and I thought you might be as well. So wanted to share that with you. All right, I'll save two of the books I'm reading for review because one of them is big and juicy, and when I saw that I was assigned this book for review, I let out a whoop and a holler. All right, let me just show you real quick. I won't read the synopsis, but I did get a finished copy very shortly after I showed you this book with the advanced review copy that I got, the print galley, and I said, I hope I'll get a finished copy from Princeton. Well, of course, they take care of me, and I got a nice big finished copy of To the Success of Our Hopeless Cause, The Many Lives of the Soviet Dissident Movement by Benjamin Nathans. As you know, I love reading about Russian history, Soviet history, communism studies. That's one of my fortes, along with the Civil War, American Civil War. But so, I'm so happy to get this final edition because the galley that I had, we've got way more pictures in this one, I think. Yes. So this is going to be good stuff. Anyway, I've already shown this to you, but I'll just tell you real quick. It's a gripping history of the Soviet dissident movement, which hastened the end of the USSR and still provides a model of opposition in Putin's Russia. So it's going to kind of tie the past to the present. And this is just fantastic. Princeton has been putting out some bangers lately, and this is a banger. So, and that one is out now, I believe, if you wanted to pick it up. Let me see here. Oh, poopy. I take it back. August 13th, you guys, but I did get the finished copy. So August 13th. So what? So 10 days from now. Okay, so that'll be coming out from Princeton. Oh, here's another book coming out in August 27th. Kind of espionage, World War II history, if that is something that you love. Take a listen to this one. This actually comes from Viking Canada. So this was a book from Viking Books, but the Canada chapter. But they were kind enough to send me a review copy of The Traitor's Daughter, captured by the Nazis, pursued by the KGB. My Mother's Odyssey to Freedom from Her Secret Past by Roxana Spicer. Yes. So this, again, is Viking Canada, and it comes out August 27th. It says here, the riveting narration of a daughter's decades-long quest to understand her extraordinary mother, who was born in Lenin's Soviet Union, served as a combat soldier in the Red Army, and endured 3 years of Nazi captivity, but never revealed her deepest secrets. I take a deep breath. As a child in Saskatchewan, Roxana Spicer would sometimes wake to the sound of the Red Army choir. She would tiptoe downstairs to find her mother, cigarette in one hand and Black Russian in the other, singing along. Roxana would keep her company and wonder. Everyone knew Agnes Spicer was Russian, that she had been a captive of the Nazis. And that was all they knew, because Agnes kept her secrets close. How she escaped Germany, what the tattoo on her arm meant, even her real name. Discovering the truth about her beloved, charismatic, volatile mother became Roxana's obsession. Throughout her career as a journalist and documentarian, she always went home to ask her mother more questions, often while filming. Roxana also took every chance to visit the few places that she did know played a role in her mother's story. Bad Salzuflen, Germany, home to POWs and slave laborers during the war. infamous Nazi concentration camps, and the Ural Mountains in Russia. During the years of Gorbachev, Yeltsin, and for a while Putin, she was able to find people, places, and documents that are now, perhaps forever, lost once again. The Traitor's Daughter is intimate yet vividly conversational, exhaustively researched, and shot through with Agnes Spicer's irrepressible, fiery personality. It is a true labor of love, as well as a triumph of blending personal biography with sweeping history. So, this is a story I've just never heard of, and it looks really good. I love memoirs. Oh, you guys. I've got stories from last week. I just wish I could tell you. I had some fun on my work retreat. But yeah, I cannot speak for the life of me now. The Traitor's Daughter by Roxana Spicer. Viking Canada. I was supposed, I don't think it matters that it was published in Canada. I mean, it's going to be available in the US. I mean, it's a Viking book. It's just, we'll find out. But it should be easy for you guys to get your hands on this one. So this will be out at the end of the month from Viking. I'm looking forward to it. I like memoir, autobiographies. I eat it up. Okay, so then this is a different type of book. Where did I get this one from? This is from New Village Press. They reached out to me about this book. I got an email from them, and I said, you know what? Of course I will read this. This is women's history writ large, you guys. Let me see, does this come out yet? Yes. Oh, this came out in June, so I was a little bit behind on this one, but okay. I gotta get moving. This is the Women's Revolution. How we changed your life. That's right, people. We changed your life. Just kidding. By Muriel Fox. Again, this is from New Village Press. A nice little hardcover here. Here, I'll hold this up while I read. Oh, great! This is another memoir. This might bump this back up to my top of my reading, because again, I really every now and then I like a little change of pace from straight history writing. I like sometimes some more personalization, personal experiences and stuff like that. So historical memoirs to me are they're a lovely palate cleanser, if you will, when I go from reading a 400, 500 page book on World War II strategy, which I just did. The day I was leaving for my work retreat last Monday, I was still trying to wrap up writing the review for that book. So, but I did get the finished copy in the mail, so that is fantastic. I'll be showing that one, The Strategist, to you in my next New History on the Horizon, because I highly recommend that book. Anyway, I love to have a little memoir, a little personalization. Yeah, I just like a first-person account every now and then. So this is going to be great. Let's see here. Let me continue reading for you. And in her candid, compelling memoir about the second wave feminist movement, Muriel Fox, co-founder of the National Organization for Women, otherwise known as NOW, offers remarkable first-hand stories of 30 people whom history should not forget. Okay, let me get into this, because it kind of goes into her bio a bit. Unlike books relying on secondary sources, Fox's memoir, okay, here we go, is built mainly from her own feminism files, containing hundreds of letters, clippings, notes, and photographs that she archived. The book is truthful in revealing the movement's struggles, maneuvers, sacrifices, feuds, betrayals, defeats, and victories large and small. Several revelations contradict inaccuracies by previous writers. This is a noteworthy, comprehensive book about the laws, lawsuits, and victories that helped the modern women's movement change the world. And here are some of the women that are profiled in this book. Of course, you got your standard people like Bella Abzug, Betty Friedan, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Eileen Hernandez, Barbara Love, Kate Millett. I mean, I don't recognize all the names, but I recognize some of them. Anyway, this book has a lot of praise going into it. So this is out right now if you guys want to try to find this one. But look at all these blurbs. Wow. Well, you got Katha Pollitt and then Gloria Steinem, of course, are, singing the praises of this, but a bunch of other people as well. So I'll check it out. I'm sorry I'm behind on this one, guys. But again, from New Village Press, The Women's Revolution, How We Changed Your Life by Muriel Fox. I have to tell you, part of the joy of, one part of the many joys of what I do is discovering new publishing houses, or new small presses. I get so excited because I'm like, that's a publisher I haven't heard of before. What do they do? So New Village Press, I might have to check out some of their stuff as well. Okay, where are we at? 25 minutes. So actually, and I'm still waiting on another print galley to arrive. I have, I've got 3 books assigned to me this month for a major publishing review. I don't know why. Wish I could just say it. I don't know. They're anonymous, okay? They're supposed to be anonymous, like Kirkus Reviews. So anyway, I've got 3 books assigned, and one of them, the one that's due like this week, I still haven't gotten the print galley for, so I might have to adjust the due date on that. But here are the other 2 I'll be reviewing, and they both come out in November, FYI. So let's start with this one. This is a smaller book. So, and here's another. I mean, I was aware of this publisher, but I'm becoming more and more exposed to their books lately. This is from the New Press, and this is called The Price They Paid: Slavery, Shipwrecks, and Reparations Before the Civil War by Jeff Follett. This is my advanced reader copy. Comes out November 19th. It's a prize-winning historian uncovers early instances of reparations in America. Ironically, though perhaps not surprisingly, paid to slaveholders, not former slaves. Oh, jeez. I mean, that's... Okay. So let's get into this one. In 1831, the American ship Comet, carrying 165 enslaved men, women, and children, crashed onto a coral reef in the Bahamas, then part of the British Empire. Shortly afterward, the Vice Admiralty Court in Nassau, over the outraged objections of the ship's captain, set the rescued captives free. American slave owners and the companies who insured the liberated human cargoes would spend years lobbying for reparations from Great Britain. Not for the emancipated slaves, of course, but for the masters deprived of their human property. In a work of profoundly relevant research and storytelling, historian and Frederick Douglass Prize winner, Jeff Follett, uncovers how the Comet incident, as well as similar episodes that unfolded over the next decade, resulted in the British Crown making reparations payments to a U.S. government that strenuously represented slaveholder interests. Through a story that has never been fully explored, The Price They Paid shows how, unlike their former owners and insurers, neither the survivors of the Comet and other vessels nor their descendants have ever received reparations for the price they paid in their lives, labor, and suffering during slavery. Any accounting of reparations today requires a fuller understanding of how the debts of slavery have been paid over time, and to whom. So, this book represents a major step forward in that effort. Okay, so this one sounds like, I want to see. Hopefully it won't, hopefully it's not going to I just want it to stick to history. I don't know how much it's going to tie it to current politics. I just don't want to go there. I've taken the much needed approach to staying sane is that I limit my I limit my intake of current events. I have to. But anyway, I'll be writing a review for this, The Price They Paid. I think I need to start reading this probably by the end of next week. Okay? Not that you care. You're like, do whatever you want. Right. So That's from the New Press. That comes out November 19th. All right, so final book in this video. And mind you, I have tons more new history on the horizon. I needed to kind of break these up a bit, and some of these were, like I said, books you've seen before. So this is a book we have not seen before. I did not know this was coming until it was assigned to me, and it's a biggie. It's a bad boy, and I love it. Okay, this comes out November 5th from Little Brown. Need I say more? Lincoln versus Davis. The War of the Presidents by Nigel Hamilton. I am so excited for this. I cannot wait. I think my review of this is due towards the end of the month, which is good because this is a big one. This is a big book. We have, not counting bibliography, it's a 700-page book. It's a 700-page read. But I have been waiting for a book to do this, just to pit these two against each other. I mean, I'm sure that has been done before, but it's been a while. Oh, I love it. I want to see... I've read a lot about Lincoln, and I'm still learning a lot about Davis. I know more than the average person knows about Davis. He's prickly. He played favorites, you know. When he had a grudge, he held it. You know what I mean? He was just Lincoln's opposite in every respect. I mean, his personality was part of his problem, you know, along with his abhorrent views. But I can't wait for this because I can't. Well, okay, let me just read you the description. I'm not going to start reading it now because I have other assignments due, but I'll probably start reading this. Oh, it's my calendar. I'll probably start this in another week. So I'm going to give myself enough time to really move through it and not speed through it. I want to kind of just savor this. All right. From prize-winning biographer Nigel Hamilton comes the greatest untold story of the Civil War. How two American presidents faced off as the fate of the nation hung in the balance, and how Abraham Lincoln came to embrace emancipation as the last best chance to save the Union. Of all the books written on Abraham Lincoln, there has been one surprising gap: how the rail splitter from Illinois managed to outwit his formidable opponent Jefferson Davis in what remains history's only military face-off between rival American presidents. Okay, Davis was a trained soldier and war hero. Lincoln, a country lawyer who had only briefly served in the militia. Indecisive and a poor judge of motive, Lincoln allowed his war policies to be sabotaged by faithless cabinet officials while entrusting his army to a preening young officer named George McClellan, whose defeat in battle left the nation's capital at the mercy of General Robert E. Lee, Davis's star performer. The war almost ended there. But in a Shakespearean twist, Lincoln summoned the courage to make at last a climactic decision, issuing a proclamation freeing the 3.5 million enslaved Americans without whom the South could not feed or fund their armed insurrection. The new policy doomed a rebellion in dire need of support from Europe, whose governments dared not recognize rebel independence, and a war openly fought over slavery. The fate of President Davis was sealed. With a cast of unforgettable characters, from first ladies to fugitive coachmen to treasonous government officials, Lincoln versus Davis is a spellbinding dual biography from renowned presidential chronicler Nigel Hamilton. That's right. I knew I recognized that name. He wrote The Mantle of Command, FDR at War. Yes, I think I have that one. So, Lincoln versus Davis, The War of the Presidents by Nigel Hamilton. This comes out November 5th from Little Brown. Get it on your radar. And also follow me on my social media. Click on all my buttons either in the description box or my banner on my page. I post on X. I post my written reviews. I link to them on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay, so follow me there at the History Shelf. Okay, guys, so there's a little bundle of brand new history books that I just wanted to share with you. I have more videos coming, so stay tuned. I really am sorry for the lapse, but you know how life is, and this is definitely a joy of mine to do this channel, but it does, you know, it's not my full-time job. It's my it's my lovely sideline hobby. But I'm really enjoying my work, and I'm kind of just really excited for what the year's going to bring. But I'm also excited for my channel. I've got author interviews that are coming up. I think I just need more hours in the day, guys, because I could really be doing so many more videos and posting so many more author interviews if I just had the time. But that'll come. That'll come in time. But in the meantime, thanks for being here. Okay, stay tuned. Hit the notification button, whatever you want to do to be alerted to my new videos. I promise I'll be making more this week to catch up and to just shower you guys with history love. Until next time, I hope you're staying cool out there, BookTube. Ciao.